Married at First Sight Australia, Episode 28. After the events of last night, we wake up to all the couples talking about last night's events. That's nothing new. Nothing new there at all. But on top of that, we also have Melissa contemplating, shall I confront Bryce? Shall I not? Oh, I'm not too sure. That could break us up if I say anything. She's thinking those thoughts. Typical. Nothing new there. Eventually, we do see Melissa confront Bryce about what Sam had said last night. Of course he denies it. She brings up the girl's name and he turns around and says, oh, she's a friend of a friend. Yeah. He also says that she's the girl that he met before the experiment. And then Melissa says, oh, what, the one from Tinder? And then Bryce says yes. Melissa then says that, according to Sam, she's still waiting. And then he turns around and says something like, oh, that's news to me. Yep, that's what he said. And then when Melissa turns around and says it's Jason that told Sam, he gets slightly defensive, as if to say, oh, you're going to believe a conversation that Sam had with Jason. But as Melissa says, I may not believe Sam, but I will believe your friend, Jason. He got on the defensive at that point. He just didn't have any words. He said, I'm over it. Gets off the sofa, does his usual, has a tantrum, and walks out of the apartment. Yes, he didn't walk out actually. He stormed out. He stormed out of the apartment. Nothing new there. He's storming down the corridor, asking the mic people to take the mic off him, not to follow him. Yeah, the usual. Oh dear. What is it with this guy? What is it with this guy? And then you got Melissa sitting on the floor with her back against the wall, head in her hands thinking, he's not coming back. I've pushed him too far. I've pushed him too far. He's not coming back. That's her thought. When Bryce had finally cooled down, he did come back to the apartment and both him and Melissa had the same conversation again. Just slightly more calmer. Melissa was still asking the questions, is there any truth in it? Because this is the third time someone's come back to her to relay this information. Yeah. But of course, he's always got answers. Mr. Bryce has always got an answer. I don't think we got to the bottom of any of it. He just got to the point where he's ready to leave. He said he wants to go back to Canberra today. And if Melissa wants to come, she's more than welcome. That's how he said it. But he understands that she has her misgivings, but he's ready to leave. Then Melissa turns around and says she's not leaving. Yes, Melissa turned around and said she's not leaving. And the reason she's not leaving is because it makes them look guilty. Because she's not going to be that couple, she says. She wants to hold her head up high and finish this experiment. As she says, we've got one more day to go. And then after that, we don't have to see these people again. That's virtually what she was saying. It was at this point that we saw Bryce burst into tears. Yes, burst into tears. He says, I just want to go home. Yes, he did. I just want to go home. I can't do this anymore. That's what he said. That's what he said. And he cried into his wife's arms. Yes, he did. Oh, dear. It's all got too much. But I don't know whether he's brought it on himself or not. I still believe he's lying. But the stress of the lying is what's making him cry. He thought he could man up and be this He-Man that can take on the world. But look at him now. Broken. The lies have just got too much. The lies have just got too much. And with him breaking down the way he did, Melissa's response to that, when speaking to the camera, was, it just shows you how much our relationship means to him. You can't fake emotions like that. That's what she said. That's what she said. I don't believe the emotions are what she's thinking. His emotions are more about shit. The shit's hit the fan. What the F do I do now? That's what those emotions are. Anyway, fast forward to the dinner party. So we saw, first of all, it was Johnny and Kerry. They look very pretty together, all coordinated in their yellow. I actually like her quirkiness, her style. Something about it I like. And then we saw Georgia and Liam. Again, they look good together. But I still question whether he's going to be able to put up with her glamorous side. She takes forever to get ready. And I can see that starting to grate on him. Yeah, that's my question there. Then we had Alana and Jason. Again, these two look good together, but I still question whether they'll last outside because I can't see it. Fourth, we had Belinda and Patrick. Belinda, what have you got on? That's bringing me back to the 70s now. 70s disco fever. That's what I see looking at you. Oh, I don't get it. She does need help though. She really does. But talk about confidence though at the same time. Her confidence has just grown within this experiment. Yep, can't fault it. Then lastly, we had Beck and Jake. Not going to waste my time. Moving on. So we had all these guys talking about whether Bryce and Melissa are going to turn up today. Jason saying, no, they'll turn up. They'll turn up. Did they? When the maitre d' turned around and said, dinner is served, everybody looked at each other to say, what? What's going on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, only 5 couples. Where's Bryce and Melissa? Everybody's starting to question themselves now. Everybody's thinking, I wonder if they left. What's going on? Yeah, 20 questions. That's all that's rolling around in their heads now. So we finally got to the dinner table. Seeing these guys around the dinner table, the vibe was so much more relaxed today compared to other weeks. No drama. No drama. No drama. So everybody cheered and raised their glasses to the final dinner party. All you got was chit chat, people conversing, like normal people do. Nice calm vibes. Nice calm vibes. But the conversation couldn't help but go back onto Bryce and Melissa. Yes, Bryce and Melissa. It was Beck that asked the question to Jason. Are you surprised that Bryce is not here today? That's what she asked him. And he said no. He said no. Because when he thinks about it, after what Alana had told him last night, what happened, Bryce is in a lose-lose situation, he says. If he comes here and denies it, he's going to get smashed. That's the words he used, smashed. If he comes here and admits to it, again, he's going to get smashed. Someone then asked him whether he believed it. And he says he doesn't know. But at the same time, there's a lot of evidence building up. And we don't know whether it's 100% true. But then Beck turned around and said, but it is 99.999% true. Something like that, she said. So, dear. This guy still needs convincing. He does. Someone then asked him, what would he need for him to believe? Yeah, something like that. And it was Georgia that turned around and said, Let's see if we can get hold of Sam. Yes, that's what she said. We want to get to the bottom of this. She did ask Beck whether she had Sam's number. And Beck turned around and said, I do, but I don't have my phone. And then I think she was talking out loud to say, can we get a phone? And let's try and call her. So that's what Georgia did. She found the phone, gave it to Beck, and Beck called her. Yes, she called Sam and put her on loudspeaker so everybody could hear. In the meantime, while all this was happening, Jason's face said it all. He was like, oh God, please don't tell me this is true. Yeah, he was getting anxious, sitting there, looking very nervous, rubbing his hands like he normally does, twisting his thumb like he normally does. Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, continuing on with the call, Beck got through to Sam. Sam was surprised to hear from Beck. She was saying, oh, aren't you supposed to be at a dinner party? And yeah, Beck said, yeah, I am. But Bryce and Melissa haven't turned up. So we were curious to know, have you got any information of what's been going on? Any more information? That's what she said. So let's see what she said. Her answer to that was no, she didn't have any more information, but she's been told that Bryce has been on the phone to everyone today to tell them to shut up. Yes, he's been on the phone today doing damage control, telling everyone to shut up. Oof, what is he hiding? Oof, this is not looking good, not one bit. And with everybody hearing that, you just heard gasps from the whole table. Everybody's thinking, oh my God. So there is some sort of truth in this. Yeah, there's some sort of truth in this. Jason, in the meantime, his head is buried in his hands. Because he's thinking to himself, oh, I back this guy. I wonder about Jason. I really do. He's gullible. That's what I see. Gullible. And just to add, the information came from Bryce's best friend, Jason. Yes, Jason. Sam also just happened to be sitting with the same best mate that heard the story from Jason. So they were both sitting in the bar, and her best mate, Paul, came on the phone to say what Sam is saying is 100% true, and what they heard was from Jason. He said it like it was common knowledge, like everybody knew this story. And on top of that, he was coming on the show for publicity reasons. Yes, publicity reasons. That's the way he relayed it, like it was common knowledge. Dear. Brycey. I don't know. What did you think you were doing? I'm going to say it again. What's done in the dark will always come to light. After hearing that phone call, everybody was in shock. Yep. The whole table, slightly somber, slightly quiet, not sure what to do with this information. Somebody said it's quite hard to hear. Somebody else said, I think it was Johnny, that turned around and said he feels a little embarrassed because he was wanting to defend that relationship. Yep, that's what he said. And then Jason was asked how he felt. He paused, as he normally does, for quite a while, trying to take in this information, not sure what to say. Yeah, rubbing his hands like he normally does, twisting his thumb like he normally does, licking his lips, the whole 9 yards, yeah. Eventually he said he's heartbroken. Yep, that's the first words that come out of his mouth. He's heartbroken. He was defending this relationship he said they were the strongest couple. And now he just feels like he just doesn't know what to feel. He says he feels disappointed. He feels the wool's been pulled over his eyes. Yeah. The evidence is there. That's really what he's saying. He continued to say that it's bad. It's bad. He said the whole experience has been me backing up Bryce. And then me and my wife nearly splitting up over it. Yep, that's what he said. He's only just realised that. Alana's been telling you from day dot. But he's only just realised that. Anyway, enough about Bryce. The table continued talking, conversing, getting away from Bryce, having a nice casual conversation. And then we saw Patrick and Belinda talking to the camera. And Belinda said something on the back end of Patrick. He turned around and said, "It's been a nice quiet night." Belinda turned around and said, "I think something's going to happen." That's what she said. I think something's going to happen. And what happened next was the matchmakers came in. It was now time for honesty. Yes, honesty. It was honesty box time. Yes, everybody was shocked. They really didn't want to see this one. But as the matchmaker says, this is time to get to the nitty gritty of things. The questions that you've been avoiding to ask. I'm going to touch on every couple, but I won't be touching on every single question. So here we go. Starting with Alana and Jason, it was Jason that asked a question to Alana. What concerns do you have with us leaving the experiment? And her answer to that was that they have different lifestyles. So whether they'll be able to blend or not, we're not sure. And then on top of that, it's the way they make up and break up. Outside the experiment, would it work? Because within the experiment, we've been able to get back together. But outside the experiment, I'm not sure it will. Like I said myself. The next question was from Alana to Jason. And it was, do you think our relationship would have lasted this long if it wasn't for our sex life? Yep. Coming back to the sex again. His answer to that was no. And the way he said it was, we seem to use sex more for making up when it comes to arguments. The third question was again from Alana to Jason. And it was, do you trust that I will always have your back? His answer to that was no. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised for him to say that. And his excuse was, she hasn't had his back throughout this experiment. That's virtually what he said. And then she had to justify it by saying, and that's because of Bryce. And that's because of Bryce. I have morals. And didn't he just say that he feels like a dickhead and he feels disappointed and he feels embarrassed about how he's been done over by Bryce? Did he not just say that? So why is he sort of defending Bryce still? And on the back end of that, he's still saying to Alana, that's the difference between me and you. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? What are you saying? What are you saying? Because she has morals and you don't. Oh, you're so dumb. You're so dumb. I've got nothing more to say here. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't care whether these two renew their vows. It's not going to last outside of the experiment. Moving on, the next couple were Johnny and Kerry. I did watch this one. Did get emotional, I will say. Yeah, it was very heartfelt. The question was from Kerry to Johnny. Does my relationship with my ex-husband affect you? In short, he said it does scare him. He doesn't want to put his insecurities on her. in regards to how him and his ex-wife no longer speak and how they broke up and how it affected him. He likes that she has a good relationship with her ex-husband. He doesn't want his insecurities to play a part in that. He'd rather her be happy than be amicable than them going through the stress that he went through with his ex-wife. Yeah, that was really the answer he gave. The next question was from Johnny to Kerry. And the question was, are you emotionally ready to have a serious relationship since your marriage? Yeah, that was the question. And her answer to that was, the two of them, as in Johnny's marriage and Kerry's marriage, have been very short marriages. And what she got upset about was, because the marriage was short, it came with a lot of guilt, shame, and responsibilities, with letting a lot of people down. You feel like a failure, and you put your family through so much with the expense of the wedding, the breaking up, the divorce, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. And that's where she got really emotional. I got emotional too. In answer to his question, she says she's ready. She wouldn't be here if she wasn't ready. She's ready to risk it all again. Because she's in that headspace. She's in the right headspace to do it all again. That's what she said. And as I said, she got emotional all over again. He consoled her. But I really like these two. I really do like these two together. They work. And I could see them working on the outside as well. Our next couple were Georgia and Liam. And the question was from Georgia to Liam. Name one thing you like best about me and one thing you like the least. And in answer to that, he said, the best thing about you is your heart. You've got a big heart. Your heart is pure. You'll do anything for anybody. And that she would give people the time of day, even though people may not do that for her. Because they would have already judged her by the way she looks. That's what he said. And then when it comes to what he likes the least, it was the glamorous side of her. He's just not into that. They're both from two different worlds. He's a farmer. He's very much shorts, boots, and very down to earth in that case. While she's, like I said, the high life, the glamorous life, her Instagram likes and all that stuff. He's not into that. And he worries that he won't fit into that world. That's the other thing he said. And in response to that, she turned around and says, not once have I judged you. She doesn't really care where he's from or what he does. As long as somebody treats her right. That's really where she's coming from. But he's very concerned about he won't fit into her world. And then behind that, her question to him was, how would your friends and family see me? Would they accept me? And his answer was no. Yep. He said no. He also said on the back of that, his friends and family's opinions mean a lot. If you don't gel with them, it's not going to work. That's virtually what he said. You could see her getting upset by his responses. I didn't really like the way he answered her. He wasn't very caring in the way he said it. He was very blunt. No empathy behind it. Then he turns around and says to the table, you girls can't turn around and say that when you first met Georgia, that you were a great fan of hers. Something like that, he said. One or two of the girls stood up for her to say, no, she convinced me straight away who she was. It was at this point you could see Georgia getting emotional because the girls were starting to back her in relation to what Liam was saying. It was Kerry. Kerry put her hand up to say bullshit. Yes, that's what she said. Bullshit. She turned around and said, your friend should accept her. She's got brains, she's got intelligence, she's got depth. and that should have an issue with his friends before having an issue with her. And him being him, he should be fighting for her. That's what she said. She said she wanted him to say that he would back her, fight for her, because she's worth it. That's what Kerry said. And she meant every word of it. Liam then continued to say that everybody has an opinion. And my friends will have an opinion. He then said, am I going to break up with her because I hate her? No. Will they come to learn and accept Georgia? Yes. But they're going to sit here and have an opinion on you. It is what it is. That's what he said. The poor girl was in floods of tears. Really? You couldn't deliver a message better than that? Oh, dear me. His deliverance was terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't know where we go from here. I did worry about these two, whether they'd work on the outside. I can't see it. But it's just the way you deliver it. It just... Oh dear. Moving on. Our next couple were Patrick and Belinda. And one of the questions that was asked was from Patrick to Belinda. Do you love me? Yes, do you love me? Now, she had to get him to repeat the question. And even then, she kept repeating it to herself. And then the table got involved because it's like she didn't understand the question. We were going round the houses here. We really were. This is the first time this girl knows anything about feelings and feelings towards somebody in a love relationship. Yeah, so this is all very new to her. She hasn't got a clue how to answer this question. That's really where she was at. Didn't have a clue how to answer the question. And her answer to that question eventually was not yet. Yep, with all that fussing, her answer was not yet. Because as she says, I've been single for 29 years. So this is, as she says, all very new to her. She's not too sure what she's feeling or how to feel. She says she's scared. She actually came into this experiment wanting to experience this falling in love. And she is getting these feelings, as she says. Especially over the past week, it's starting to develop. And it's going the way she wants it to go. She's proud of where she's at. And she's proud of where they are at, as in a couple. That put a smile on Patrick's face to hear that. And everybody else on the table was proud. Yeah, they look like proud parents. I like these two. I really do. I can see these two working. Not just at the vow renewals, but on the outside. Lastly, we have Beck and Jake. Now the question was from Beck to Jake. Who do you feel is more committed to this relationship, me or you? Yep, that was the question. For me, it was a no-brainer. Jake. I didn't like the answer to this one. Jake said it was him. Which to me is true. As he said, he's been more committed to the relationship. He's never written leave. He's always wanted to work through the problems that they've had. And as far as he's concerned, he's been the most committed. And I'm sorry, I have to agree. I'm not even sorry. No, I'm not. I agree. And she said, I challenge you on that. Yes, she wanted to challenge him on that. She turned around and said, you've put stay, but you haven't really committed. You've never been present in the moment. I've been forgiving and accepting. And at the same time, you put me in the too hard basket. Is this cow? Yes? This stroppy cow? Miss Sourpuss, is she for real? Is she for real? Oh, I can't stand her. I cannot stand her. The next question was from Jake to Beck. And his question was, in the next 3 months, are we still together in your mind? Yep, that's the question he asked. And there was a long pause in her answering that question. A long pause. Her answer was no. I told you about her. I've been telling you about her from the beginning. From the minute she walked down the aisle, it was over. It hadn't even begun. She was wasting my time and yours, as well as Jake's. I felt sorry for him, sitting there, accepting that. This guy's pushing for something that isn't worth pushing for. I don't know why he's wasting his time. I don't get it. What is he seeing that I don't see? What is he seeing that we don't see? I don't get it. Oh my God. Jake, what are you doing? The next question that was asked was from Jake to Beck. How do you feel about me? That's the question. How do you feel about me? She, of course, went round the houses, avoiding the actual question. He had to bring it back in. Stop going around the houses. I've asked the question, how do you feel about me? I'm glad he brought the question back round. She was doing everything to avoid answering it. She's been doing that for the whole season, the whole experiment. She was so rude at the beginning of this experiment when talking to him or answering him about anything. Why all of a sudden is this hard? This should be easy for you. Answer the frigging question. And then she comes out with this feeble excuse. It's been so hard to connect to you. Your walls have been so high up. He's looking at her to think, walls high up? What are you talking about? That was his expression. That's my expression. What are you talking about? And with all the dribble that just came out of her mouth, he asked the question again in a different way. Do you like me? Yep, simple. Do you like me? Again. She had to take a deep breath before she answered the question. She didn't know what to say. This girl is not real. You know what? I can't with her. I can't. My energy is so depleted. I feel like Jake right now. I'm depleted. She eventually did answer by saying, yes, I do like you. However, I feel you like me more than I like you. Well, we all know that one. We all know that one. And then behind that, she turns around and says, the reason why she's not quite there yet is because he doesn't open up and say how he's really feeling or how he really feels. Is this girl for real? How many lies are coming out of her mouth? The verbal diarrhea is unreal. How does somebody lie like that? Oh my goodness me. I just want to slap her. And in response to this, Jake's listing a whole list of stuff that he's already said to her about how he feels, about moving, the whole 9 yards. He's listed a whole list. And she's sitting there like butter won't bloody melt. His last words were, if you want to make this work, you tell me. If you don't want this to work, you tell me. I'm a big boy. That's what he said. He's a big boy. We never did hear the answer to that question. It was left on a cliffhanger. So this is where I'm going to leave it. If you like what you heard, please like, comment and subscribe. Till next time.